I don't know what else to say. I don't know how else I can warn you. I don't know how loud I need to scream. I don't know how many bodies you need in the wake of this madness. I don't know how many people you guys need to see turn on a dime before you realize something is not right. What is up, everyone? Oh, wait. Not that one. This one. There we go. What is shaking, my good people? Ooh-wee. What a day. I thought there was music playing the whole time, but there wasn't. I was waiting for that video to kick it. And you know what? I'm not going to explain it to you. But I'm sorry, there should have been music in the pre-lobby there. That clip you saw was the very last show I did on UCR. For UCR. As UCR, the Unidentified Celebrity Review. And it's wild to go back to September 1st, 2022. So, over a year and a half ago. Close to it. Yeah. It feels good today. Today feels good. And even though we're going to dance on the grave of liars and grifters, we're still going to take even this information at face value. And we're going to be very careful with it. And there are good reasons to be very careful with it. And just blindly trust the Department of Defense and, warmongers, essentially. In this instance, I think there is some good reasons to believe that this report is well-intentioned. And again, I'm going to get into the reasons why I think why. Of course, want to say welcome and hello to everyone who is here. If you haven't already, well, first of all, welcome to Lue Reviews. If it's your first time here, welcome. We are the destination for critical thinking in the realm of the unexplained. I'm your host, Luis Jimenez. If it is your first time here, like, share, subscribe to the show. And if you really love it, ring the bell. And if you really, really, really love it, check out our Patreon in the description below. No paywalls, no special access, no extra content. Just if you love the show, we have a Patreon and you can donate, and there's all sorts of fun levels there. If you want an extra bill every month, that option is there in our Patreon. So go check it out. Okay, so yeah, we've got a lot to cover with today's events. Yesterday we talked about how Sean Kirkpatrick was basically, wrote an op-ed in the Scientific American. We read through the entire article. There are things about that article that I think are spot on. Some of the things I wish he specifically had done more, because it's his op-ed, it's his opinion, is I wish he would have named people. I wish he would have been more specific, add some specificity to the people and the loons and the programs and the fake shit and the grifters, and the people disseminating bad information. I think it would be helpful for the public to know who these people are by name so they can be highlighted as do not trust. If these people fall in this category, do not trust them. And here are the reasons why. I think eventually, hopefully, we get there. And I think we can get there without blindly trusting anything. except for the facts and what the facts are. So let's take a lap around the bases, because for me, I just hit the home run, So, yeah, I fucking told you so. I told you something was not right. Something was not right with the people, especially that stem from the core of Lue Elizondo and Christopher Mellon. If they are in any way in connection, whether it be directly, indirectly, third party, fourth party, if it connects to the branches and their leaves on this shit tree, and they've dug in their heels and they refuse to change their story, and they refuse to look at facts, and they refuse to question their heroes, and they refuse to inform their audience of the proper information, no matter the results of their financial benefit from it, or in this case would be a disadvantage. I don't know if disbenefit is a word, but disadvantage. Like it was for me, like it was for Green Street, like it was for anyone who even flirts with the idea of asking not rude questions, simple, direct, fact-finding questions. Those things are not rude. They may come off rude to you, but that's not you thinking it's rude. That's your belief system screaming at the top of its lungs, and the only thing it can do is say, oh, I can't trust that, or I can't believe that, I can't do that. No. It'll do anything. Your belief system will do anything to make it work. And a lot of you have done that. A lot of podcast hosts, and I will tell you who. That UFO podcast, anyone or anything having to do with Skyfire News, that's a new one. Dan Zetterstrom, anything from the UAP media, UK specifically, Vinnie Adams, anyone connected or associated with that organization whatsoever. They are a big branch that connects to this shit tree. UFO Joe, oh, that reminds me. I have to correct something. Michael Moran is not Moran Lerner. I got that wrong. Either way, it's still really shitty that someone knows either one of them, associates with either one of them, and has lied about doing that with either one of them. Whichever one that may be. So I just wanted to correct that, because it's not a hill I'm sitting here willing to die on. It's not the hill, it's the behavior that I'm pointing out. It's the immediate lying and obfuscation, which is a word he loves to use. And when I say he, I mean Lou. So the Joe Murgia, the UAP mics, the KMFs, the uplifting tweets, the Matt Fords, the Stand for Betters, all the George Knapps, Jeremy Corbells. I don't know why I'm pluralizing them, but I'm grouping them together. These are all the same. Gary Nolan, Christopher Mellon, if I haven't said it. I'm on the fence about Ryan Graves. Even though I don't trust his organization, there's a lot of red flags about him, I'm still going to reserve. Maybe he's trying to do the right thing. Maybe. But honestly, I think he's connected to this shit tree in some way. Alex Dietrich is definitely connected to this shit tree. Her husband, who was part of ATIP, which was a bullshit organization, which we will get into. I know there's people I'm forgetting. This is like an Oscar speech in a way. Like, I'm trying to remember everyone I want to thank who stabbed me in the back, didn't believe me, and walked out on everything that I told them. Or just straight up stayed silent and just watched and said or did nothing out of fear that their show, their baby, their platform, their whatever teat that they suckle on every month, it would be affected by by backing up your friend. And someone who had a track record of legitimately trying to do good, not obfuscate, not plan, not talk about, not boots on the ground with drones that don't work and movies that are stupid as shit, with actual grassroots activism. I showed you guys what I was genuinely about. And when you got jealous and when, you saw it was better than yours, you found any excuse and any opportunity to take us down or take shots at us or hate on us. Especially when you saw that, oh, fuck, we're not as good as that. Therefore, let's bring it down. Oh, and also, he doesn't believe Lue Elizondo, even though he showed us that he's a fucking liar and a manipulator. At the very least, that has been publicly shown, thanks to him, by the way. That is his doing. He wrote those things. It's a good day. It's a good day for some clarity. And just, it feels good. I was right. I am right. McGowan was right. Stephen Greenstreet was right. John Greenwald is right. Steve Cambion is right. Manny 503 is right. Paranormal Chris is right. And again, if I'm forgetting you, I'm sorry. But there's a lot of people that have been nicely, calmly, not so calmly, in sometimes a bad tone, screaming at the top of their lungs, telling you and warning you this day was coming. And there will be more that will definitively take all doubt out of this. All right, let's switch views here. Look at this. I love it. Hello, why fools, Lord Bass, Blank One, All Happy. Thank you guys for being here. I know there's a few of you. I'm actually gonna shut these alerts off. Right. Nope, not that one. There we go. Okay. I can bring up your chats through here. Let me bring that up. All right, cool. Let Leto run free. Oh, he's running free. Trust me. There's. I think he flew a little too close to the sun. Flew a little bit too close to the sun. And I was right when you were doing a big phone home, but you got mad at me then. Artisan Tony, it's not that you were right, man. Like, sit here and say, oh, I was right. That government can't help in this situation. Like, I still disagree with that. I think if people band together and people demand things from their government, things do change. They don't happen overnight, but they happen if you're consistent and you do it in a way that isn't messy, that's clean, and the message is clear. And we did a really great fucking job at doing that. And the proof is in the pudding. Again, it didn't have 100% to do with it, but I promise you, the reason why the reason why the NDAA got passed is because people called in and asked for those things. And they would not have called in if it wasn't for us. So it did change things. So you're wrong. You're wrong. And this applies to every gripe that anyone has in the government. If you think something is wrong, fight for it. Lobby for it. Campaign for it. Organize for it. Don't just sit there and say, no, it doesn't work. How do you fucking know? And again, I'm not yelling at you here, but that goes to anyone. How the fuck do you know? What have you done in any regard that was similar to what we tried to do? I bet it's nothing. I agree the government is inept, Tony, but not all of it is. Not all of it is. We have roads, we have running water, we have heat, electricity, police, fire, Marines, Navy. I think it runs pretty fucking well. Are there aspects of it that run like absolute garbage? Yes. But we can't just paint the brush on everything. And that's what everything has become these days. It's black or white. No, I'm sorry. There's nuance to things. And I'm sorry, when you organize and you ask for things in one voice, things change. There's been very many examples of that in 2023. The auto union strike. Starbucks employees, Amazon employees have striked and gotten what they wanted and unionized. Actors, writers, pilots, teachers, hotel workers, all of these people have gone on strike and have stuck to their guns and have gotten the concessions that they demanded. So don't tell me about ineptness. It works, but it's hard to do, and nobody likes to do it. But I did, and I did it for free. I did it for free. I did way more many hours than the money that I made. I promise you. In the 3 big phone homes I organized, I put in infinitely more. I think we calculated it. It was less than $1 an hour with all of the hours that I put into organizing those events and calling people and writing, templates and making a website and editing promos and actually contacting all of the lawmakers that I said everyone else should contact and writing them and tweeting at them and calling them, organizing with people like Lue Elizondo, trying to anyway, and Sean Cahill trying to anyway. It was more like, Jesse Springer was, those were the people I was really talking to. Those were the people actually dealing with me. It's just, I understand. Like everybody, I tried to warn you. Like, great, thank you. I appreciate it, especially now. But that doesn't mean that the philosophy behind the effort was wrong. Because I said many times, even while we were doing the first big phone home, hey, this doesn't apply to just UFOs. Take our template, swap out UAP for equal rights, for better infrastructure, for better healthcare, and use that template and shape it to you want and send it to your lawmakers. If there are other things that you want that are important to you, but you have to do it. You can't just sit there and not do anything. So the philosophy is right. The applying the philosophy to the people and the ideals, that's where I went wrong. Because I thought those people ideals were also facts, and they weren't. And when I figured that out and tried to tell everybody, it was like, well, good. Let him burn. Let him burn to the ground. And just like in that clip, before that clip, I was actually watching some of the last show there, obviously. And, like I said, hey, this is my last show and I'm going to take a break, but I'm going to come back. And I mean, even that day I was being reserved. I wanted to burn it all to the ground, all of it. I wanted to spill every secret, and most of them I've pretty much said on this show. I've given almost every story, every little nuanced thing that's happened, sometimes behind the scenes. I've never not answered a question. Never once. Never once. So yeah, it's a good day. It's a good day. Just reflecting. I'm sorry I keep like reflecting and going back, but like so many things, so many sacrifices, so much bullshit that I went through personally. But just take me out of it. The shit that my girlfriend was put through, some of it was just fucking gross. All in the name to defend this liar. This liar and manipulator and not a good person. And Artist and Tony, oh, well, $30 donation. Thanks, man. I introduced this guy to Lue Elizondo. I got him his first interview, big interview on this topic, was thanks to me. So like I don't have an issue, especially if I think you're coming from a good place with, yeah, I'll put my name on the line. I'll put my neck on the line to cover for basically a complete stranger, but I think a complete stranger that's coming from a good place, as far as I can tell. And that's why I think, Tony, I've never blocked you. At least I don't think. And if we have, we've unblocked each other and we're still on talking terms because we're reasonable people. I think that's what you send me. I've always liked you, Lou. My beef was always with government. And I know that. And that's why we are still on these terms, because on some level we can reason with each other. I can't do the same thing with King Milkfart. I can't do the same thing with Joe Murgia. I can't do the same thing with UFO Joe or Sean Rash or Andy McGrillen or Dan Zetterstrom or Graeme Rendell or any one of these guys that thanked me for inspiring the stuff that they're doing now. If it wasn't for me, I don't know if Vinny would have a show right now. Like nobody would know who what's that artist's name? Forgetting his name. He made like the coolest image. Olaf Rockner. No one would know who that guy was if I didn't tweet out his artwork. I was his first follower. I was the first guy to buy arts from him and show his art on my channel and promote his stuff. And you guys wonder why I was pissed off. Like, you guys wonder why I was upset. Like, all these little relationships, all these little things that were done behind the scenes in good faith and in an agreement of like, hey, we're humans here. I know we don't agree on everything, but we could treat each other like humans until you do something that questions our belief system. And then we will drop you quicker than a bag of rocks. You're dead weight. If you can't conform, you're dead weight. Okay, so this is I believe, 63-page report. 63 pages. The first, 4 or 5 pages are, basically an index of what's in this report. I'm not obviously going to go through all 63 pages. What we will do is go through, because the beautiful thing about this is they kind of highlighted the things I think they really wanted to get across in this report. So section 2, executive summary. This is just amazing. AARO found no evidence that the United States government investigation, academic-sponsored research, or official review panel has confirmed that any sighting of UAP represent extraterrestrial technology. 0. No evidence. AARO found no empirical evidence for claims that the United States government and private companies have been reverse engineering extraterrestrial technology. AARO determined, based on all information provided to date, that claims involving specific people, known locations, technological tests, and documents allegedly involved in or related to the reverse engineering of extraterrestrial technology are inaccurate. Additional claims will be addressed in Volume 2. Yay! So they're going to even get more specific, which I hope, again, in Volume 2, we get names. I want names in Volume 2, AARO, Department of Defense. I want to know exactly the people who are making these claims, I hope, are addressed as well in Volume 2. When it comes to UAP non-disclosure agreements, NDA, this was amazing. AARO has found no evidence of any authentic UAP-related NDA or other evidence threatening death or violence for disclosing UAP information. So nobody with a UAP-related NDA, there's no evidence of them getting threats of death or violence when it comes to disclosing their top secret UFO information. So David Grush, Lue Elizondo, Christopher Mellon, Tom DeLonge, all of you idiots, the NDA, all of you guys who's like, oh, they can't answer because of the NDA. That's bullshit. Or, oh, they'll get killed if they break their NDA. That's bullshit. A CIA official allegedly managed UAP experimentation. So they basically are literally going through. Okay, a CIA official allegedly managed UAP experimentation. Alleged UAP intelligence community document. Aliens present during DoD technology test. Claim that a military officer touched an off-world craft. Test of off-world technology. UAP disclosures. They literally go through every single bullshit thing that has been propped up by every single person that I just named of part of that shit tree. There goes another demonetized video, baby. Like, it's over. Pretty sure we lost that in the first 2 or 3 minutes of this stream. So let's read the first one. The named former CIA official was not involved in the movement of extraterrestrial technology. The same former CIA officer signed a memo rejecting a claim made by interviewees that he managed the movement of an experimentation on off-world technology. Unreal. Ah, Jane's here. Hello, Jane. Oh, I'm so happy you're here. Jane, if you want in on the show and you want to say hi, let me know. I'll send you a link. And you can come say hello. I'd love to see you if you've got time. And I see we also have Lue Elizondo. He's going to clear all these things up in his new book. And it's so funny that the night before this drops, that's when he tweets. And this is all, I guess the DOD is just making shit up about Lue Elizondo. We'll see. Enjoy watching for now. I got some work to do. All right, love you to death. I'm happy you are here. So, alleged UAP intelligence community document. An alleged 1961 special national intelligence estimate that was leaked to online sources and suggests the extraterrestrial nature of UFOs is inauthentic. Aliens present at a DoD technology test. AARO reviewed information related to an account of an interviewee overhearing a conversation about a technology test at a military base where, quote, aliens allegedly were observing, and AARO judges that interviewee misunderstood the conversation. The claim that a military officer touched an off-world craft. Now, is he talking about Bob Lazar? Is he talking about, are they talking about the guys in Rendlesham? An interviewee claimed that a named former military officer explained in detail how he physically touched an extraterrestrial spacecraft is inaccurate. The claim was denied on the record by the named former officer who recounted a story of when he touched an F-117 Nighthawk stealth fighter that could have been misconstrued by the interviewee, though the named former officer does not recall having this conversation with the interviewee. Wow. Oh my gosh, man. James Pennison. Yep. Test of off-world technology. An interviewee claimed that he witnessed what he believed to be the testing of extraterrestrial technology at a United States government facility almost was an observation of an authentic non-UAP related technology that tests strongly correlated in time, location, and description provided in the interviewee's account. UAP disclosure study. Interviewees claim that between 2004 and 2007, the White House requested a research institute in Virginia, so this is Stephen Greer, to study the theoretical societal impacts of disclosing that UAP are extraterrestrial in origin. AARO confirmed the study was conducted, but it was not requested by the White House. Interesting. That is interesting. Who was it requested by? Because it's more than one person claiming this. I mean, it's got to be Greer. It's got to be the Disclosure Project. Has to be. Has to be. Name companies allegedly experimenting on alien technology. AARO has found no evidence that U.S. companies ever possessed off-world technology. The executives, scientists, and chief technology officers of the companies named by interviewees met with the director of AARO and denied on the record that they have ever recovered, possessed, or engaged in reverse engineering of extraterrestrial technology. Experimentation on alleged extraterrestrial spacecraft sample. And let me just say before I get to that one, just because they say they don't have it doesn't mean it's true. But what I will say about all of these things is the Department of Defense has actively decided that we are going to squash once and for all the extraterrestrial theory and instead tell you in a couple of cases here so far that people are misidentifying our shit. And to me, that's huge. That's the biggest takeaway from this entire 63-page report. And that's why I invited Emily, Weird Emily, because she had a great tweet about this. Let me find it here. Oh, come on, where'd it go? Why does that always happen? When I think I... Lue Lies. So here's her tweet right here, and it's a good one. While I don't believe that there's a secret program to reverse engineer UFOs, it's pretty funny how AARO's investigation consists of asking the DoD, CIA, and defense contractors questions and then taking their answers at face value. She makes an amazing point. I don't think anyone should take this shit at face value. But what I will say is you should definitely understand what they are saying. And I think I'm going to take that at more than face value, because I think for the DOD, the CIA, and defense contractors to say through volume 1 of a report that, yeah, it's not aliens, extraterrestrial craft, or any of that shit. It's actually ours. They're just fucking up. They're mistaking a new skin on an aircraft for an alien spaceship. They're mistaking things that are flying around our rockets that we're testing at the exact same time, other things in those vicinities, and they're mistaking those things. So to me, that's a big admission, because I've been saying that this UFO narrative, the reason why the DOD hasn't been squashing it in the bud, is because, or nipping it in the bud rather, is because this narrative serves both sides. Again, like, I think the DOD, the CIA, and the Department of Defense, or I already said that, you know what I'm saying, these organizations would much rather have people point in the sky and go, oh my God, aliens, instead of, oh my God, new Navy ship, or new, Air Force plane. But with this report, they are destigmatizing this. They're doing exactly what everyone asked for. Destigmatize this topic, please, so we can take it seriously. Okay. If that's what you want, we'll do that. And that's exactly what they've done. It's one of those cases of be careful what you ask for. Because now they are destigmatizing it to a point and replacing alien spacecraft and aliens and woo-woo bullshit with, hey, actually pay attention to what you see now. Because those things could be a threat to national security. Those things could be a threat to public safety. Those things could be a threat to American infrastructure and organization as a whole. Like, if you had a swarm of drones with cases of anthrax or C4 or, whatever, 300 or 400 drones with one of those things on there, and you fly it into Santa Monica Pier, you fly it into Times Square, you fly it, God forbid, like something like a Super Bowl or a school or something nuts like that. And that's appalling. That is scary. That is terrifying. That I cannot even imagine the fallout from that. But now imagine that hitting the Pentagon, the White House, power plants, nuclear facilities. Now it gets even more serious. So that is what I am taking from this report, is that the aliens and the visitors and the future people and the programs and the reverse engineering fairy tales, it's all lore. And forget about it. And actually now we would like you to report anything and everything you see in the sky, because we need to start cataloging it and genuinely understanding it, because they say in this report there are a lot of things that they've looked at that are unidentified, not because they're aliens, but because we don't have enough data. But if we did, chances are it would be solved. You can't just, again, paint brushes. Well, if there's enough data, boom, solved. That's not always the case. There is that I think that even this report still leaves room for the diamond in the rough. And I think that scientists and policymakers are interested in that diamond in the rough, but none of them have seen it. None of them have seen it. And that's what this report is telling you. This is a major, major national security problem on so many different levels. It's an embarrassment to the DOD. It's an embarrassment to the CIA. It's an embarrassment to our government as a whole. And this is where our government is inept, Tony. This is where we're falling behind. And this is what this conversation has created. We're playing catch up on a very real issue in real time. And the government is scrambling to fix a mess of its own creation. So that's why I would love to talk to Emily, because I'd love to spar with her in a good way, of course, and just pick her brain. Hey, like, what do you think of this aspect of it? The idea that this is basically admitting, yeah, okay, we've got cool toys. We've got some really cool toys. And again, like, guys, that is a big story. That is an awesome story. That is something you can walk away from and go, holy shit. I think our government has figured out at least how to create craft that seem like they're from other fucking planets. That is exciting. I'm excited about that. I'm sure most of them are drones, but I'm curious to know what sort of power plants those things have, especially the ones that can sit in the sky for days, years. Like, what is powering those things? And when are we, the American people, going to start seeing the benefit of those technologies? That is a good question to ask the President of the United States. That is a legitimate question when it comes to energy independence. We have some very, very cool toys. And I think this report is a slow leak, not of aliens, but of some of the things that we've been hiding now for 20, 30, maybe even longer of years, 40, 50 years. This might be a lot simpler than people realize. I don't know. But again, I've kind of called all this shit already on September 1st in 2022. Okay, so I think that's where this is going. This is destigmatizing the topic so not only civilians, but more importantly, pilots and military personnel report anything that they see. Anything. And they're telling all of those people, hey, these aren't aliens. You're not looking at aliens. You're either looking at one of our toys, or you're looking at an adversarial problem, or you're looking at a balloon or some space trash. Space debris or air clutter, excuse me. Or even Starlink or low orbit satellites. Like, those are the things pilots and people are seeing. Now, this has nothing to do with AARO, but it would be nice, and I hope at some point a governing body like AARO looks into this abduction aspect of this conversation. And if we could get some clinical psychologists to genuinely dive deep in onto what's happening there, coupled with this kind of data coming forward, I think we could start to get a really better understanding of what the hell's happening and why these things seem so real and so visceral. Or maybe these things are real. Maybe they are visceral. But we're never going to find out until we genuinely study it and put all the bullshit and all the woo and all the mind reading and all the crystal healing and all the fucking, meeting aliens in mountains and curing cancer and all of that bullshit to the side. Which reminds me, I wanted to play this yesterday, because I had no idea about this when it comes to Criss Angel. And I really connected with this clip. And I think you'll see why. But I also learned something really cool about Houdini that I did not know. So let's check out this clip. We'll stop it at parts, and I'll go ahead also and just say fair use. This is transformative work. We are educating the public on the clips and videos and audio that we are sharing. This is covered under fair use and allowable by law. So yeah, this is Criss Angel debunks all mind readers and psychics.
Can you help me understand? Like when you walked in here, you said you're a little bit of a mentalist. Was that real? Like, is that?
I was kind of fucking with you.
Okay.
I think.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, like, can you fucking explain to me how they can look at somebody's
What
face?
did I say to you
When you walked in? I think I forgot.
You
but
said you were like, oh, you got married at the Whitechapel.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, dude, when somebody like looks at somebody and they're just like write down the name of their dog and show it to them, like, what the fuck is that?
It's all bullshit.
Okay.
There is
That's
no.
all you gotta say. Thank God.
Take me undercover with you. This will be a show. Let's go undercover to tarot card readers. People that can read your palm, and we'll go sit there, and I'll have a little camera, and I'll like completely expose. It's all cold reading. It's all bullshit. Like somebody says, hey, it's magic. It's tricks. It's illusions. It's all of that stuff. Houdini spent what, half of his life debunking these people.
Because his mom.
Yeah.
Like
1926, he died, but his mom died, and
he lost his mom. He's super upset about that, and he so wanted to communicate with her, and like all the seance people.
Yeah, the mediums would be like, "Oh, your mom's talking to me," and then he realized that they were using the same tactics that he would employ doing tricks. So he exposed them, and then he got sued, and he would go to court. And so half of his life, that's what he did.
I had no idea. No idea. And that makes me respect Houdini so much more. Because how much time, how much effort, how many like true believers he lost to fight those lawsuits and fight those con artists. Thank you, Houdini. Like, I had no idea. Now that Chris Angel's also an advocate for that kind of stuff as well. And this is what's great. Chris Angel shuts this shit down so quick because Steve-O's about to tell a story about a personal experience that his dad had at a psychic. And he was there. And it's so good because Chris Angel is one of, if not the best magicians on the planet. Right? This guy is all about making money on illusions. But it's got to be done in a responsible way. Make all the money you want off of UFOs. Make whatever UFO fucking convention you want. But it should come with a warning label like cigarettes. Hey, just so you know, the information you're about to review is not factual. It's not based in any facts. It's based in lore and secondhand stories. There's no scientific evidence to back any of these claims whatsoever. Brandon Fugel. Make your paranormal Disneyland. Trademark whatever the hell you want. But if you don't put a label like that, entertainment, actually calling yourself entertainment, then like a Chris Angel, like a Houdini, I'm going to call you out on it. If you're doing it in an illogical, unethical way, I'm going to call you out on it. And that's why it just made me go, man, like I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one who is trying to genuinely help the people who are like, yeah, I'm going to go to a psychic after my mom died. And I'm going to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm going to go to this alien experiencer who promises me that we're going to go on an expedition to a mountain and we're going to meet the enlightened ones. And they're going to show us cures. They're going to walk us through enlightenment. They're going to heal us. It's the same thing. Hey, pay for my paywall. I got a paywall on my UFO channel. When you get that paywall, that's where you get all the access and all the secrets early. Stuff you can't get anywhere else. It's all bullshit. It's all lies. That's why there's no paywall, and there never has been, even when I was a UFO believer, because I never once called this science. Never once did I label my podcast, my show. It was always labeled entertainment, because I never felt right about labeling the category of my show as science. Who does that? That UFO podcast does that. Dan Zetterstrom does that. Jeremy Corbell does that. George Knapp does that. Like these guys, Linda Moulton Howe, I'm interested, I haven't checked hers, but I'd almost bet it's science, her category. Science and news. This shit is not news. It's a hobby. UFOs are a hobby at best. And maybe one day somebody will actually get a picture or a video that is shot from multiple angles with really great cameras where all the metadata is shared and it is open sourced and people go, okay, this is something genuine. We have some serious questions now. And now the DOD is put on the spot to explain, okay, is that one of our toys or is that something else from somewhere else? Or some place or some time else. And I don't even think they'd have the answers to that if that ever occurred. Okay, but it is a hobby. It's like bird watching. Okay, but you're just looking for, and if you want that to be your hobby, you want that to be your life, God bless you, go for it. But the minute you start turning that hobby into scientific fact, pseudoscience, conspiracy theories, that's when you're going to start hearing from people like me. I'm sorry. Like, whatever it is inside of my soul now that wants to speak out against this every time I see it, I don't see myself stopping. No matter how unfamous or famous I get when it comes to my other careers and my other interests and my other passions, so anyway, let's listen to the rest of this clip. I just want to say I love this show. I love you guys. Like, today's a good day. Today's a really good day. A really good day. A really good day.
He battled these people. So when he died in 1926 on Halloween, he said to his wife, Bess, I'm going to give you a word because people are going to claim that they connected to me and contacted me. Mm-hmm. Ask them what I'm telling them to tell you. And so basically they held a seance for 10 years. It was a vigil. It was in California on top of I think the Roosevelt Hotel. And right where my star is, by the way.
Yeah.
Which is cool that they tied it together with Houdini. But they had a 10-year vigil there, seance. And eventually his wife blew out the light and said that no one was capable of making that connection. And the word that they had before he died that he told his wife is the word believe. And in the word believe, in the center of that word is lie. So none of them.
And let me tell you something.
We're contacting thee. What is he saying?
People talk about.
No one did that.
People talk about. I think it was mentioned in The Secret. There's no such thing as coincidences, and the fact that I can't tell you why now, but maybe if one day somebody will remind me what you meant by this. But the fact that Houdini, it's sort of, let me go back real quick, that coincidences are indications that you're on the right path. And I do have, there are parts of me that spiritually believe some of those things or subscribe, even though I can't prove them. It's just something spiritually in me where I'm like, okay, maybe, it'd be nice. But, I'm not going to put all my eggs in this basket. But the idea that Houdini told his wife that if anybody says that they spoke to me in the past life, ask them to tell you the secret word, which is the word believers with the L-I-E highlighted in it. Believer. That means so much to me right now, that the way that is described, And I pray that all of you guys are going to see all the work that I've done behind the scenes to make believers a thing. I'm so excited, but yeah, when I saw it, I was like, oh wow, that's a cool coincidence. Anyway.
Yeah, what about that guy that the great Randy?
James Randi.
And
Yeah, I
you
knew
just go
him.
debunked it?
I know James Randi when I was 17 years old. I had a cable access show called Hot Kicks back in the day in Brookhaven, New York. I had him on, and he was the one who came up with me confirming to be called Chris Angel.
No shit.
Yeah, my real name is Christopher Nicholas Sarandakos. Then I had Santos, then I had Sarantis, and then I was thinking about Angel. He's like, Angel, that's a great name for you. You look nothing like an angel, and you have birds in your show. And I kept it. And I've known him for many, many years. He was always very kind to me. He passed. But he started a foundation that debunked or proved that what people claim to be psychic or supernatural, that he couldn't reproduce or explain how it worked. And he did that when he died. The guy that started running his foundation is a dear friend of mine, Banachek, who runs that foundation. And they have $1 million for anybody that can do anything that can't be explained or reproduced. And then I jumped in. I put $1 million on the line a couple of times to offer to like some of the Long Island Psychic and all these people and they just run.
Yeah, I mean, you remember watching that documentary with me when he would just like go on the Tonight Show or whatever it was, and these people would come out and he's like, okay, well, why don't you do this? And you'll like put a box around it, and they can't do it. Like, I'm not feeling it today.
Or we're going to move this pen with our mind. And he said, okay. And he would take like little styrofoam and put it on there. I said, okay, move the pen and not with the styrofoam, because one of the techniques is that you blow on the table, which makes the pen go in reverse. Yeah. Or there's some other techniques. So like, he was on Johnny Carson, and he had a guy named Uri Geller on, who I did a show with. And Uri Geller claimed that he could bend forks and silverware and all of these different things. And then when I was in front of him, I said on television, I said, okay, I'll give you $1 million. Bend this fork right now, because I bend forks all the time. No, show me, bend. And he wouldn't do it. And he claimed that it was a trick. If I do it now, it's a trick. But what I did back then was... And I was just like, so kind of exposed that it was bullshit.
Love it.
I do want to push back, though, because I feel like there have been some really pretty credible psychic things. I'll give you an example. My dad went to see a psychic with, at the time, my stepmom. The psychic said, your first wife needs to be set free because her ashes have not been spread, right? Like, so the psychic knew that my dad, A, had a first wife, B, his first wife was dead, and the ashes were sitting in an urn on a shelf in my sister's bedroom closet because we just hadn't come up with an idea for spreading these ashes.
Okay.
So very personal, right? And here's the thing, like, I don't know if you caught who he said was there. It was his dad and his stepmom. That's who was there first. You'll see that changes here once his belief gets pushed back by Chris Angel. But I don't think it's hard for a psychic to deduce, hey, so you came in here with your second wife? Okay. Was the first wife passed away, maybe? I don't know. Let me see what... Like, I have a feeling any good psychic would be able to pick up on those vibes immediately just by them sitting down. I mean, there's going to be only so many outcomes to, okay, why is this your second wife? you know, and if you poke and prod in the right ways, you can get that information. I want to say thank you to the $9.99 donation from I'm Not Here, This Is Not Happening. Says, just to thank you, calling out liars and exploiters, taking the fun out of this hobby and attempting to radicalize, oh, sorry, get cuts off here, and position the UFO community is so valuable. I hope the cards keep falling. I think the cards will definitely keep falling, my friend. Thank you so much for the donation. Let me again, just so everyone can see the whole thing. Sorry, I'm trying to make these things as big as I can. It's it's a thing that I'm finessing. Anyway, thank you so much, appreciate it. And I also want to real quickly, I want to bring up my stream labels here and make sure that I give everybody the proper love, because I think Artisan Tony, your donation meme got cut off a little bit here, and I want to give it some respect again. Hold on, we'll wait for this to load. While that's loading, I'll go ahead and play the rest of this clip.
Okay, so you ever buy a car and as soon as you take it out on the road, you realize, oh, there's my car over there. There's my car over there. But when you don't have that car, you never notice that. So here's what happens. It's basically called cold reading. So you weren't there actually listening to the chain of events. And if I guarantee if you videotape that and you listen to the playback, you would see, and I could point out exactly the method of how they do it. They talk about a lot of things. People have expressions, body language, they're engaged, they might even say something. So if I'm talking generalizing about different things and I see that you have an interest in something, I'm going to feed off of your body language, how you react, your facial expressions, if you respond to me, and I'm going to constantly go further and further. Once I hit something, I'm going to start going more in that direction. And I'm going to start digging and trying to see, okay, which path am I going? I'm changing paths constantly. Then at the end of that process, you're going to leave there, and the only thing you're going to remember is what you want to remember that's important to you. That's why Houdini had such a problem with people taking advantage of people that lost a loved one, because people would go to psychic and say, I love this person, I miss them, and people would the psychics would take these people, these vulnerable people, their money, and essentially just give them false hope and just read them and respond to them based on the information that they were gathering while they were talking to that person. It's called cold reading. And it's just, I've hypnotized 150 people to remove their clothes. I've done a lot of these things. I've exposed this stuff. It is, the sad part about it is that we take this and it doesn't become just entertainment or a trick anymore. We're taking this and we're putting such a value on it. And we're putting a value on it because it goes to our heart with somebody that we love. Right. In this most intimate connection that we have as humans. And now I'm exposing that it's bullshit, and now you feel like, oh my God, this thing that I thought, it's kind of like when you find out Santa Claus as a kid. Right. There's no Santa Claus.
There's no Santa Claus, everyone.
If people had the ability to do that, why on 9/10 they did not predict 9/11? Why are they sitting there trying to take $10, $20, $40 for a reading when they can literally just predict what a lottery would be? I mean, there's so many reasons and so many facts. But for me, being somebody who's been doing magic since I was 6 years old, and I'm not a specialist in anything. I'm a general practitioner, but I know a bit about all the different disciplines within the art. From my perspective, I would love to see anyone do something for me, a couple people that I have a lot of respect for, that we can't explain it or reproduce it.
Have you ever been?
And we put our money on the line for that.
You see, like, and yeah, Steve just moves on, and that's the thing. Oh, I was there. Okay, great. If you had a video of it, or if you have a video of it, I can go through and tell you exactly the moments where they took advantage of your father. And it's so right. Like, go predict the lottery. Why are you scrambling for $40 for a reading? You know, nobody predicted 9/11 on 9/10. Like, that is powerful. And something also very powerful that he said, it's like telling a child that Santa Claus isn't real. And that's what a lot of this show is now, is showing you that Santa Claus isn't real. There's no aspect of Santa Claus that is real except for the written record of it. You know, it was a guy that maybe did he even exist? Saint Nicholas? Yes, he was a real person, right? But we could definitely all agree a real person didn't get on a sleigh and attach some reindeer to it and start flying to everyone's house who was Christian and privileged to drop off presents. And it's the same thing with the aliens, man. It's like, wait, so let me get this straight. The aliens are coming from billions of light years away to grab the asses and elbows of cows and then anally probe people, strip them of their clothes, probe them in all different ways other than their asses, and then just drop them off in a phone booth somewhere and fly away and not even get, like, you know, the more prominent ones. Like, you figure if you go to a zoo, that's usually a collection of the premium animals that people would love to see that you never get to see anywhere else. Why not take Elon Musk? Why not take the president of the United States? Why not take the president of China or Kim Jong-un or the prime minister of the UK or New Zealand or anyone infinitely more important than the people that they take? Infinitely more important. And why is it that they take those certain people? Oh, it's in their DNA. They're chosen. It's in their brain chemistry. They've been chosen. They're chosen ones, according to Gary Nolan and John Ramirez, right? Like, they're all chosen. They all have been chosen by Nordic whites with blue eyes, and their DNA has the same Nordic DNA, so therefore they're the ones who get to go on these trips, even though you're Asian with brown eyes. I mean, like, okay. You know, Santa Claus isn't real. And I've said this, and I think Jane will agree, there are those, like the Cash Landrum. I know somebody brought this up, and that's one of my favorite cases as well. But I promise you, there are much more terrestrial explanations for what that could have been than extraterrestrial explanations of what that could have been. So, anyway, let's get back to this report, huh? Let's get back to this awesome report. Okay, so experimentation on alleged extraterrestrial spacecraft sample. A sample, so I'm assuming this is the sample given by Linda Moulton Howe that the To the Stars Academy bought and then sold to the United States military in what was called the CRADA agreement. And then it just disappeared. But I guess here is the analysis of that. AARO has concluded that a sample from an alleged crashed off-world spacecraft that AARO acquired from a private UAP investigating organization and the U.S. Army is manufactured terrestrial alloy and does not represent off-world technology or possess any exceptional qualities. The sample is primarily composed of magnesium, zinc, and bismuth, with some other trace elements such as lead. This assessment was based on its materials characterization. Amazing. AARO assesses that all of the named and described alleged hidden UAP reverse engineering programs provided by interviewees either do not exist, are misidentified, authentic, highly sensitive national security programs that are not related to extraterrestrial technology, exploitation, or resolve an unwarranted and disestablished program. So they highlight this. AARO created a secure process in partnership with the highest level security officials within the DoD, IC, and other organizations to reach and investigate these programs. AARO was granted full, unrestricted access by all organizations. It is important to note that none of the interviewees had firsthand knowledge of these programs. They were not approved for access to, nor did they work on these efforts. And I've been saying that since Grush testified, because people are out there saying, oh, well, Grush is part of these programs. He saw the programs, man. He knows where they are. No, he doesn't. And he never testified that. He never testified that. I've heard from the people I've interviewed who say they were part of program A, B, C, D, and E. But I was never part of those. I just heard it during my investigation, during my interviews for, ATIP or whatever the hell he was working for at the time. The interviewees and others who have mistakenly associated authentic, sensitive national security programs with UAP had incomplete or unauthorized access to these programs. Discussion of these programs outside of secure facilities presents a high risk of exposing national security information. Now, this is where it gets interesting, and people have pointed this out on Twitter. One program was a UAP-related prospective special access program. So this was a real UAP-related prospective special access program called Kona Blue that was proposed to the Department of Homeland Security and supported by individuals who believed the United States government was hiding off-world technology. The program was never approved by DHS, and its supporters never provided empirical evidence to support their claims. So there have been many instances in which these believers have actually gotten the ear and the consideration and the time of lawmakers to genuinely think about a program like this. And after they came together and talked about it and voted on it, they're like, no, no. Do you have any evidence that should approve this kind of funding? A special access program? You got our ears. Now, it's like pitching a movie idea. You got the elevator pitch, right? Okay, you got our attention. We can't go anywhere for a minute and a half because it's quite a bit to get to the top. What do you got, kid? And you've got your elevator pitch. And if you do it really well, you get a meeting. If you don't, you're told to go kick rocks. These guys were told to go kick rocks. Because when it was like time to, okay, where's the evidence to approve this special access program? They couldn't come up with it. There was no evidence. Zero. In 2021, without sufficient justification, the scope of an IC-controlled access program was expanded to protect UAP reverse engineering. This program never recovered or reverse engineered any UAP or extraterrestrial spacecraft. This IC program was disestablished due to its lack of merit. Unreal. AARO assesses that the inaccurate claim that the United States government is reverse engineering extraterrestrial technology and hiding it from Congress is, in large part, the result of circular reporting from a group of individuals who believe this to be the case despite lack of any evidence. George Knapp, Jeremy Corbell, Dan Zetterstrom, Andy McGrillen, UFO Joe, I'm not even going to say their name because they haven't even been here that long. I mean, that's who they're talking about. AARO notes that although claims that the United States government has recovered and hidden spacecraft date back to the 1940s and 50s, more modern instances of these claims largely stem from a consistent group of individuals who've been involved in various UAP endeavors since at least 2009. Al Puthoff, Eric Davis, Gary Nolan, good old Dave Grush. Many of these individuals were involved in or supportive of a canceled DIA program on the subsequent but failed attempt to reestablish this program under DHS called Kona Blue. AARO assesses that the UAP sightings and reports of these sightings to the USG organizations and claims that some UAP constitute extraterrestrial craft and that the United States government has secured and is experimenting on extraterrestrial technology have been influenced by a range of cultural, political, and technological factors. So the reason why people within the United States government and some organizations are believing this shit is because of the cultural, political, and technological factors. So UFOs is a culture, it's a cult that has influenced politics and politicians at the highest levels within the most secure and classified committees. And technological factors are toys and other countries' toys, but more than likely ours. AARO bases this conclusion on the following factors. The aggregate findings of all USG investigations to date have not found even one case of UAP representing off-world technology. None of the programs mentioned by interviewees are UAP reverse engineered programs, and all the authentic programs have been properly notified and reported to Congress through the Congressional Defense and/or Intelligence Committees. So all of these things that all of these 40 witnesses were written down and they were looked into, and those programs and all of that shit was given to people like Senator Gillibrand and Rubio and Mike, damn it, forgetting his last name, the Republican that squashed this shit. Like, that's why none of them came to the rescue when the UAP DA was on the board. None of them spoke up publicly, yet you want to blame everyone else except for the people who made you believe this shit. Or at least helped you believe in this shit, because they believe in it in themselves. AARO has no evidence for the USG reverse engineering narrative provided by interviewees and has been able to disprove a majority of interviewees' claims. Some claims are still under evaluation. AARO determined that a piece of metal alleged to be recovered from an off-world spacecraft is ordinary, of terrestrial origin, and possesses no exceptional qualities. Several factors, domestic and international, most likely influenced sightings reports and the belief by some individuals that there is sufficient proof of UAP represent extraterrestrial technology. AARO's examination of the historical context of UAP investigations from 1945 to the present reveals that these factors, some common to distinct between the earlier era of UAP investigations pre-2009 and the modern era post-2009, undoubtedly influence the direction of these investigations. The volume of and spikes in sightings and overall public interest, concern, and debate. So basically, we're saying the Bigelow era and post-Bigelow era. So the pre-Bigelow era, all of the scientists involved, all the people involved in that era are now the ones advising the new crop of idiots within our federal government. Useful idiots. And they're taking these secondhand stories and they think they're real. That's how I hope they think they're real. That's the best case scenarios. They just got fooled. And that's still really bad. Like really, really bad. Worst case scenario, they knew it was fake and they pushed it anyways. And they made a big stink and they made it a big deal anyways. I hope it's again, like all of this stuff, I hope has consequences. I really do. Because American citizens were manipulated and used and ostracized and harassed and doxxed for this. And that just doesn't stop at citizens or people on Twitter. That's NASA scientists. That's any scientist that has looked at this with a serious eye and has come to these same conclusions. And that's a majority of them. I hate to break it to everyone. AARO's examination of the historical context. Okay, I read that part. These periods are divided into pre and post 2009 timeframe because this is the year of the stand-up of the Advanced Aerospace Weapons System Application Program, AAWSAP. It's exactly what I just said. And the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, ATIP. Pre and post. So we go pre is AAWSAP Bigelow, post is ATIP and Elizondo and Christopher Mellon. And there are a lot of people from pre influencing the guys in post and vice versa. And then those guys have handpicked their voices and mediums that they're going to send their messages through, like Matt Ford. Completely forgot about Matt Ford and his good propaganda show. That, propaganda podcast with Andy McGrillen and Dan Zetterstrom. I've named these. I'm not going to name them again. You know exactly who I'm talking about. I'm not being coy, unlike Ross Coulthart, who says we should name these people. I'm actually doing it. These are the people that should be called out for their bullshit and their complicitness in this, knowing that this was the answer at the end of the road. Now they're going to spend the next year spinning this nightmare into, don't worry, guys, it's coming. Just hang in there. I know haters are going to detract. I know people are down, but don't worry, you guys, it's coming. Something's coming, I promise. It's never coming. Santa Claus is not real. Prior to AAWSAP, ATIP, there was about 40 years gap in the UAP investigation program since the termination of Project Blue Book in 1969. Common contextual factors between earlier and modern investigations includes rapidly evolving and dynamic national security environment, concerns about technological surprise, intense secrecy related to government military programs, public interest in UAP, perceived bureaucratic barriers, and the persistent lack of quality data. Some contextual factors that were distinct between earlier and modern investigations include differences in the level of public trust in the government. This is the stuff we were talking about in the Big Phone Home. The large volume of popular culture, content, content related to UAP, the large volume of popular culture content related to UAP, this explosion that I told everybody was coming in UAP content, because this has now gone into a place of officiality. And the thing that made it official is the thing that everybody hates, the government. Like the government. And now the government is officially looking at it and deflating all of your conspiracy balloons, and you fucking hate it. Now you hate the government, even though the people giving you the bullshit work for the government. So it's like, I don't know how you guys cannot see this. So as far as I'm concerned, you're complicit in it. You know exactly what's happening, and you'll see them. You're gonna see them do this dance like Chupacabra does, and all of his little idiot buddies. You're gonna see McGrillen do the dance. You're gonna see Zetterstrom do this dance. You're gonna see all of these guys and all of these people, the Linda Moulton House, the Jimmy Churches. Everyone's gonna do a dance on how to spin this damning 63-page document, and it's only volume 1. I hope in volume 2 they release all the footage from Gimbal, Go Fast, and Tic Tac. And if anybody at AARO is listening, that is the best thing you can do to squash all of this bullshit. Release the full videos of Gimbal, Go Fast, and Tic Tac. Let the American people and let the fucking open source take care of those videos and determine, without the help of the DOD, because we've already done it before without you guys. We've determined that Go Fast is really going slow. We've determined that nobody knows the actual distance between the plane and the camera system when it comes to gimbal. Tic Tac, is it a plane? We don't know, because there's not enough data. Release all of the audio, all of the video, all of the instrument data that can be released in good faith to show not only the American people, but lawmakers that they've been taken for a ride, and that they should no longer have meetings within the halls of Congress with people like Ryan Graves and Lue Elizondo and Christopher Mellon and George Knapp and Jeremy fucking Corbell, for fuck's sake. Like, we showed yesterday how he was spending at least $1,800 a night in a suite in Washington, D.C. to talk to lawmakers. That's where I'm frustrated with AARO, because there are other ways for you guys to solidify this even more. And don't get me wrong, this is a good first step, and I've explained why I'm taking this at face value and giving the government the rope to be like, okay, well, they're admitting it, there's no aliens, but at the same time, they're admitting that our toys are really cool in their little ways. Like, I think the story is still very interesting and still demands a lot of attention, because if somebody does get footage of a new experimental aircraft going like this, stopping, then coming down, then going into space, that would be pretty cool to see the Department of Defense spokesperson explain that one, you know? And if anything, it should tell everybody, hey, keep your eyes on the skies, because there are cool things to see. Get your head out of the phone. Go just look. I still look at the skies, man. Every time I step out of my house, I look up every time in hopes maybe I get a glimpse of what I once saw as an adult, you know, as a fully formed, mature person. But it'll probably never come. It'll probably never come again. But I'll still look. And hell, if I got a glimpse of a brand new toy, I think that would still be really cool. Really, really cool. Man. And that's, you know, like, if I was that UFO podcast, if I was any one of these Matt Fords, any one of these idiots, that's how I would spin this. That's how I would pivot my programming. I would pivot in the direction of, oh shit, we've got cool toys. Let's talk about that. Let's get people in and on this show that might have some insight on the cool toys that are coming. And I think I'm probably going to end up doing that with this show because this one just says a lot. But if you guys really want to impact this, if you really want your military personnel, civilians, and airline pilots reporting this stuff, I think making sure that the alien hypothesis is completely off the table, at least for right now, with as much evidence as you can provide to the American people is the best thing you can do. And I think, again, the best way to do that is to release those 3 videos. So I know that was a long thing, but I just had to get that out there again because that's the thing that we advocated for in the Big Phone Home 3. That's the thing that UFO podcast just couldn't get behind. That's the thing that Dan Sederstrom just couldn't support. And every other single person that bailed out on Big Phone Home 3. And there was a lot. A lot. Jesse Michaels was supposed to be on that show. He mysteriously bailed out. Panda was supposed to be on that show, and he mysteriously, he got the time wrong. I sent him an email with the time in his time zone, which is the same time zone as mine, and he just missed it. There were so many things like that on that day. But more specifically, especially from that UFO podcast. Like they were the ones people were looking to see, okay, how am I going to react to the things that are happening on this show? And once they set the standard, that was it. Game over for UCR. all because I saw this coming in 2022. Took me a while to get here. And honestly, I came into it with this worry, but then slowly convinced, there's nothing to worry about here. Get them blinders on, kid. Just the UFOs are real. The UFOs are real. The UFOs are real. And then somebody just took down this blinder. I was like, oh, what the hell is that? What in the hell's going on over there? Whoa, what is that? You did what? It's incredible. All right, where did I leave off here? Quality days. Some contextual factors that were distinct between earlier and modern investigations include different. Okay, I read this. Yeah. Disclosure to classified programs of observation, the proliferation of online sources. Okay, yeah. So popular culture, content related to UAP, the perception within some segments of the population that the USG is hiding extraterrestrial technology, unauthorized disclosure of classified programs mistaken for UAP observations, the proliferation of online sources that reinforce these beliefs, the proliferation of online sources. So, weaponized, the liberation shit times, and any publication that fucking Daily Mail on some levels, anytime any article put out by Chris Sharp is propaganda, pure and simple. And that's another person who I was his first Patreon supporter. Even though I didn't agree with him and some of the things he was writing, I was, especially when he was one of the last people that it took a long time to split from. But yeah, I mean, damn, dude, it's just wild how I platformed all these guys. A lot of these guys have their influence and their power simply by me supporting them and being the first to do it and loudly do it. That's why I'm so mad. Things like that. Like that's what fuels my fire when I say today's a good day. Like today's an amazing day. But the proliferation of online sources that reinforce these beliefs, the impact that social media has, this is big. The impact that social media has had on circular reporting and the rapid spread of information. I can tell you every single one of these things in these two categories right here, these bullet points, all of these things stem from the United States. All of these things are your fault, United States government. All of these things, the reason why people believe in these things, subscribe to these things, pay for these things, fight for these things, kill for these things, is your fault. Because for decades, you guys have stigmatized the fuck out of this discussion to a point where it has radicalized it. It has cultified it. And now you're trying to rip off the Band-Aid in one fell swoop, and you're yelling at them for the problem that you caused. And I think that's another issue I have with this report, is that there is no responsibility taken whatsoever by the United States government, by contractors, and by lawmakers. Zero accountability. That shouldn't shock me. But if I think that's something you should add in volume 2, is some accountability and some recognition that yes, the United States military created these issues. All of these issues stem from our stigmatization of it. All of these issues stem from that. So this can't just be thrown on a bunch of cult members. It's not fair that they're in the cult. They've got good reasons as to why they slipped into this cult. It's not all of their fault, but the cult leaders, the prophets, they know exactly what's going on. They have just made the active decision to take advantage of the information that they know. It's like Mayan leaders knowing when the eclipse is coming and telling everyone, hey, we need some blood to satisfy the gods so we can get some more rain. If we give them enough blood, he will block out the sun. Oh, let's kill everybody. Let's kidnap everybody. It's literally like, it's the script from that Mel Gibson movie, Apocalypto. Like, it's like, these guys have this information. They've had it for years. For years, Knapp has known this. People like Tim McMillan in the Debrief know this. And they actively make the decision to ignore this stuff. It only pushed the fantasy and the lore because it gets more clicks, man. It gets more clicks, more attention, more eyeballs, more blah, 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 blah. Jonathan Pham, thank you for the $2 super chat. 18 equals 666 point. The true adult age is 99.27. I don't understand this at all. I'm terrible at math, but thanks. I understand $2 very, very well. 18 equals 666 point, or just 666. The true adult age is 999.27. Maybe that'll hit me later. I don't know. I don't get it. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to lie. But thank you for the super chat. I do appreciate it. Okay. AARO assesses that some portion of sightings since the 1940s have represented misidentification of never-before-seen experimental and operational space, rocket, and air systems, including stealth technologies and the proliferation of drone platforms. Since the 60s, they've had drone platforms, is what this is saying. So again, imagine like the things that we're seeing that drones can do now that are publicly available. Imagine what drone swarms within the United States military at the most top secret levels, what those kind of drones are capable of, and what those drones are capable of communicating with in multiple different places at the exact same time to transfer data in real time to update targets. Like, dude, the communication, the organization of these drone swarms would shock people. And the ability for these drones to tell people from objects is really good. and if they've been developing it since the 60s, you can bet your ass the toys they have now are incredible. The United States witnessed a boom in experimental technologies driven by World War II and the Cold War. And they say that comes from especially the 1940s to the 1960s. Like that era right there, there were so many experimental technologies. And it's true. There's so much experimental footage of old tech that never made it to a mass production level, but got really close. Things that are single, engine, hover platforms, things that look like it's shaped like UFOs that never made it to the actual, production phase of things. But because of the Cold War and because of the constant, threat of nuclear war, we were experimenting with all sorts of stuff. And that's what pilots were seeing. That's what people were seeing. And then I think if you just sprinkle it with a little bit of alien visitation, and boom, you've got, a perfect distraction from 4 people away from your toys. But at the same time, you've built such a massive wall of stigma that now you need reports like this to help break it down. So it's gonna take years of this, honestly, years of reports like this to reverse the decades of damage that you guys have done. Because like we've said here, and I always credit Cambion for this one, but you need 10 facts to dispute 1 lie. So only 8 more reports to go, I guess. Before people start believing, oh, okay, yeah, this was all bullshit. But I think, honestly, the best thing you guys could do is release the full versions of those 3 videos. It would do a world of good, especially to the proliferation of social media and podcasters that are jumping into this full bore. People like Karloff, right, that movie reviewer, Dave Foley, the race car driver, what's her name, Danica Patrick. Like, there have been a lot, Joe Rogan, there have been a lot of people that have massive influence that have been convinced by these same people that this shit is real. And it's not. And that influence has created a massive problem. Because now when people look in the sky, they're going to go, oh my God, aliens, instead of, oh shit, maybe we should call, the police or the Air Force and let them know, hey, they might want to take a look at this section of the sky. Many of these technologies fit the description of a stereotypical unidentified flying object. It is understandable how observers unfamiliar with these programs could mistake sightings of these new technologies as something extraordinary, even otherworldly. Along with these conventional technology research areas, the United States government also started the Manhattan Project in 1942. This program operated in secrecy and led to the establishment of several secret cities across the United States to support the development of the nuclear bomb. Any misunderstanding stemming from the intense secrecy surrounding this and similar programs could have been misconstrued for other efforts. And he's right. This report, the report is right. Not he, but the report. So I'm going to skip here a little bit because there was some things here, like notes on the UAP nomenclature. Use of the UAP naming convention, while imperfect, is the best manner in which to characterize the multitude of unidentified reported sightings. AARO understands that the use of UAP to refer to all potential possibility provides a false sense of commonality, such as their origins, identity, purpose, type, and threat they may pose. The only commonality that they all share, at least initially, is that they are all each unidentified. Beyond initially being unidentified or misidentified drones, balloons, aircraft, rockets, rocket exhaust plumes, satellites, infrared aberrations, sensor artifacts, birds, stars, planets, indistinct lights, vague radar returns, meteors, and optical effects such as parallax have nothing in common. DoD, congressional oversight, is committed to providing timely and thorough reporting to Congress and to transparency with the American public. Since its establishment, AARO has endeavored to keep Congress fully and concurrently informed of its activities and findings at all levels of classification. And you know that's true because when you ask the lawmakers that actually deal with AARO, like Gillibrand, Rubio, all of them say, yeah, they've been a pleasure to work with. And I think they're doing great work. So that conflicts everything coming from the other side. It conflicts with everything. AARO and DoD will continue to share the status of findings of its research at the appropriate level of classification with Congress. AARO's HR2 program of analysis. AARO established 6 complementary lines of effort, LOEs, to conduct the HR2 research with the goal of ensuring this report conveys an accurate and complete picture. LOEs were conducted in parallel and reinforced each other. A lead in one LOE drove new research and pursuits in another. AARO's goal was to conduct thorough cross-checks to vet all information to discover the closed gaps in its understanding. These LOEs were to... Let me take some off here real quick. There we go. These LOEs were to conduct open source research on claims, thorough historical interviews about USG investigations of contact with and recovery of UAPs, as well as an exploitation of alleged UAP material and technology. Conduct classified program research, conduct historical interviews, partnership with the U.S. National Archives, engage with commercial entities, and partner with the archives of key intelligence and national security agencies. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of them here. I feel like we're getting like small little earthquakes. What I wanted to get to here, and you know what? We'll just go to my bookmarks here. Because some people have already highlighted this stuff in the and I think I've read this. Okay, so Area 503 says, how many times had people like Elizondo hid behind a non-existent NDA? If I was one of those podcasters or journalists he bamboozled with that line, I'd be pissed. And so again, this is from this report. No official UAP non-disclosure agreements discovered. Okay, so this is interesting. In conduct of this review and to meet the direction of Section 1673 of the NDAA for fiscal year 23, AARO sent guidance and requests to DoD and intelligence community elements, DOE and DHS, to review and provide any NDAs pertaining to UAP or its previous names. To date, AARO personnel have not discovered or been notified of any NDAs that contain information related to UAP. Also, apart from the standard NDA language contained in Title 18, Section 794, describing the death penalty or jail time for illegally disclosing information relating to the national defense, AARO has not discovered any NDAs containing threats to interviewees for disclosing UAP-specific information. Historically, most, if not all, NDAs contain standard language stating that the death penalty can be applied for the crime of disclosing classified information. Title 18, Section 794 is referenced in the typical NDAs in several places in retaliation to the transmission of classified information. So, in other words, these guys don't have any NDAs. Lue Elizondo's lying when he said he has an NDA, and anytime he said the line, I have an NDA, I can't talk about that, it's a lie. It's not true. Okay? And furthermore, they're using the language of the standard language stating that the death penalty can be applied for the crime of disclosing classified information. So they're saying, listen, my life has been threatened. If I disclose this classified information, I could die. That's what they mean. They mean the language in the NDA that says, yeah, if you reveal classified information, one of the penalties could be death depending on what you reveal. That is just fucking wild, dude. Mick West, he says this paragraph from AARO's report should have been titled, quote, the low information zone. Insufficient data and information. Previous and current investigations have been challenged by insufficient data and information for intelligence and scientific analysis to resolve anomalous incidents. Insufficient data and information was compounded by inconsistent reporting, Chris Sharp, and that UFO podcast, inconsistent reporting, Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp, and lack of continuity among investigations and investigative practices, George Knapp, Jeremy Corbell. Captain Ruppelt, the first director of Project Blue Book, noted that the inability to collect UFOs' altitude, size, and speed was a reoccurring and significant obstacle to resolving cases. A similar challenge remains today, even with the advancement in technology. Excuse me, guys, let me get a drink here. I've been reading a lot. Most UAP sightings have no data associated with them beyond an often vague narrative account. And when there is hard data, it is often incomplete or of poor quality. In terms of military reporting, the sensors on which UAP most frequently are captured are collaborated and optimized for combat. UAPs are not routinely captured by exquisite, high-definition, multi-capability intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance collection platforms, a threshold which is often required to successfully resolve a case. That's why they all come on shitty, blurry videos. Okay, so yeah, this is another tweet from Average Chris who says, according to Matt Laszlo, and aka an Askapol at UAPs, an anonymous caucus member is trying to hire caucus, not carcass. An anonymous caucus member is trying to hire David Grush as a staff member in the intelligence realm. After the DoD report, Grush's credibility is in extreme peril, considering his original claim that led to supposed reprisals was why did he do that? Debunked and proven to be false about reverse engineering programs of alien craft. If anything, Grush's claims of UAP-related SAPs that are reverse engineering alien craft could only be the Kona Blue program that was failed to even make it past talks of its concept. The intelligence community would not be willing to work with someone with this type of information, especially tied to people that promote their leaking of classified information, like Jeremy Corbell. This is my opinion, of course, but I happen to agree with that opinion. I don't think he's going to get his classification reinstated, his classified status reinstated, because, yeah, he's sharing and leaking shit to Jeremy Corbell. Okay, and so this is what the UAP caucus member had to say, and this comes from Askapol. The caucus member said, quote, "I've been trying to hire him. I've been trying to bring him on staff." Laszlo said, "Oh, really?" The caucus member responded with, quote, "The goal would be, if he's on staff, his security clearance would be, he would have it renewed. He would have the place to park his clearance." Laszlo responded with, "Interesting." It's just like, man, dude, there should be, like, damn. Well, why would you want him parked with his clearance? What are the reasons? That you just say interesting? I mean, whatever. He's there in person, so I'm not going to question too much of these sort of rebuttals, but it's like, oh, really? Interesting. And then the caucus member responded with, quote, "We are kind of exploring that as a concept to see if it would work. The question is, let's say he's on staff, what authority would he have, and would it work? The other thing is, like, he doesn't want to get paid. He's not somebody that's trying to do this because he wants money, but it would be a mechanism for us to have somebody on the inside that's steering the ship." Yeah, like, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen with a guy who leaks sensitive information to a hack journalist because he believes in something. This is some of the shit I was talking about, and how things like and entities like the Debrief and Tim McMillan, who runs that news it's a blog basically. This is what he highlighted out of the 60. This right here, what he highlighted, obviously discredits the entire 63-page report because there's a typo here. Background, at the direction of Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, a Democrat from New Mexico, which he was not. He was a Democrat from Nevada. But this is the stuff that a guy like Tim McMillan is going to point out and say things. Harry Reid was a senator from New Mexico with 3 exclamation points. Now, this is some new info. Well done. Like, he's being sarcastic, he's being condescending, he's being a little dick, and basically saying, ooh, look at me, ooh wee. I found one error in a 63-page document. Therefore, this document is bullshit. That's what he's inferring with this. That is what he's inferring with this. Now, this is some new info. Well done. Like, he's being a sarcastic asshole when he does this. And this is why I stopped talking to Tim McMillan. Because I saw shit like this. These are the entities, these are the people that this report is directly referencing when it says social media and new media propagating like wildfire. He's talking about these guys. They will do it. Look at this. 43 retweets, 217 likes. Like, this is like, oh yeah, we found one typo. Therefore, all of it's wrong. You guys are fucking idiots. So stupid. And I know Tim doesn't believe that. Tim read this and goes, fuck. I guarantee you his first thought was, uh-oh. Well, how are we going to keep getting clicks at the debrief when the fantasy goes away? What article are we going to come out with tomorrow? Maybe we'll show everybody the picture of the triangle coming out of the water that we wrote about as our first article and we never got a follow-up on. Like, I'm sorry I left you out at the beginning there, the debrief. But yeah, the debrief is just as bad as that UFO podcast and just as bad as the UFO Joe or UAP Mike or any one of these idiots. Any one of these idiots, man. And the way that Ryan Sprague and Chris, the other Chris, I'm forgetting your last name, Chris, comedian Chris, who's the head science writer. Why a comedian is the head science writer at a science magazine, I have no clue. And the way Jazz Shaw all slinked away from me, how they all just quietly crept away. At least Jazz had the balls to talk to me. The other two had zero balls whatsoever. No moxie at all. Ryan Sprague and Chris Plain. No moxie at all. You guys saw what happened to me. You guys saw what happened to my show. You saw what I was saying. And I was trying to tell you guys privately. And you all wrote me off as a fucking loon and a crazy person. But you guys are the problem. And that's according to the government, the Department of Defense. Entities like the debrief are a problem. Because they do shit like this. The co-owner of the company does shit like this. This infuriates. This just gets my gears grinding. Like, this is so fucking just... Oh, I hate it. I hate it. Because he doesn't have the balls to just come out and say this report is bullshit. And here's why. Because he can't. He's just going to take the one fucking typo about the most important person in this conversation. The Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid. Nevada, not New Mexico, guys. Fucking asshole. You're an asshole, Tim McMillan. Ugh. The way organizations like that have clawed themselves into people like Dave Foley, it just makes me sick. Just sick, dude. So, okay, well, this was interesting. This was Lue Elizondo's filtered through the Good Trouble show's response to the report today. And I'll just preface this with Chris's message on this. The average Chris says, life sucks when you get exposed for the fraud that you are. especially when it's your former employer. Also, if you're going to go through Matt Ford to make a statement, that shows how irrelevant you truly are, and I absolutely agree. Also, the Good Trouble Show, you are now officially spreading propaganda and misinformation, as it's been confirmed that Lue Elizondo was never director of any program, especially ATIP. And so Lue Elizondo put out this, well, let me actually, because this was what was in the report. And then we'll read Lue's response to it, filtered through his little fucking puppet, Matt Ford. But so background, at the direction of Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, the Defense Appropriations Act of fiscal year 2008 to 2010 appropriated $22 million for the DIA to assess long-term and the over-the-horizon foreign advanced aerospace threats to the United States. In coordination with the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence, DIA established OSAP in 2009, which was also known as ATIP. The contract for this DIA-managed program was awarded to a private sector organization, Bigelow Aerospace. Note the program names. The names OSAP and ATIP have been used interchangeably for the name of this program, including on official documentation. Unlike OSAP, ATIP was never an official DoD program. ATIP was never an official DoD program. Once and for all. Like, that is established, okay? However, after OSAP was canceled, the ATIP moniker was used by some individuals, Christopher Mellon, Lue Elizondo, associated with an informal, unofficial UAP community, Tom DeLonge, to the Stars Academy, and all the morons that were part of that. Unofficial UAP community of interest within DoD that researched UAP sightings from military observers as part of their ancillary job duties. This effort was not a recognized official program and had no dedicated personnel or budget. So the worst nightmare of, oh my God, is this just a bunch of believers that just happen to be in certain positions and levels of the government that had clearance, and they're inflating this program and lying about their involvement with it to give themselves some credence and gravitas and bona fides, and knowing that it would take them, what has it been, 7 years to actually officially, for the record, say ATIP was a fucking hobby for Lue Elizondo? It took him 7 years. I have a feeling Lue Elizondo knew it was going to take that long. So you got 7 years to build your bona fides, 7 years to handpick your media handlers, okay, to spread your propaganda. You had 7 years to plan a book and movies and all of this shit and TV shows. And it took 7 years for the Department of Defense to finally say, yeah, no, he's lying. And I think Lue knows this, and I think Mellon knows this, and I think all of these guys know that it takes forever for the government to pivot and focus on something. And by then, it's too late. The damage has been done. And it has been. It has been done tremendously, especially to people like me. Because I wasted so much fucking time on something that I thought was officially acknowledged. Because you guys let this asshole for 7 fucking years run around and tell people that the aliens are here. Disclosure happened. And it took us 7 years for the Department of Defense to officially say, yep, that was a fucking hobby. That pisses me off. As an American citizen, as a taxpayer, as someone who was genuinely trying to do the right thing, that pisses me off. And it should piss you off too. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I saw this almost 2 years ago. This was the truth that I was trying to articulate to everybody. And I was pretty fucking right on that too, about what this is, which is a national security issue. It's a genuine problem. And yeah, that's not as fun. It's not as sexy as aliens visiting us. It's not as entertaining as having shamans and fucking crazy people running your chats, you know, in your organizations. Yeah, I know. It's not as fun and sexy as that. It's not as drama-filled as the spaces that happen every day between people like UAP Mike and Tuba Cabra. But yet he'll turn around and try to discredit you for associating with the same people he talks to every day. It's you know, like, this shit hits you in waves, man. It hits you in waves. And yeah, just the fact, you know, just again, like, coming right now to the realization, like, 7 years. As far as I'm concerned, that's a piss poor job. And if you have any reason to be upset with the DOD, the CIA, or AARO, or lawmakers, this is why. It should not take 7 years to nip something like this in the bud. This could have been fixed the very next day after that New York Times article dropped. The Department of Defense and Susan Goff could have easily come out and said all of this stuff. And we would not be in the fucking mess that we're in today. We would not have spent millions and millions of dollars at this point creating an AARO office, getting these things in place. At some point, an office like this would have had to have been created, but it should have been created out of genuinely good information, not information coming from a bunch of fucking conspiracy theorists. And that's how they're going to spin it, you know? Yeah, at first it was a waste of time, but look at all this other good information we found. Look at this real national security threat we found because of this, in part. And there's so many different ways to spin this as a good thing, as this waste of money, waste of time, and just sort of sweep under the rug the wake of bodies left in its wake. You know, and I'm one of those people. McGowan's one of those people. Greer or Stephen Greenstreet on some point is one of those people. Like, he's the only one he's one of the few, not the only one, but he's one of the few who has genuinely been on this since day one, since the first season of The Basement Office. And it was the hottest show in ufology, The Basement Office. That was, honestly, that was the inspiration. That was the thing at the top of my list of, okay, what do we want to aspire to? The Basement Office. And you know how that started off, you know, it was just like us. We were leaning into the propaganda because it was amazing. It was fun. It was sexy. It was like, holy shit, this is really happening. And then when you meet the people behind the scenes and you start working with them and you start covering them and you start asking them harder questions because you hit a wall of like, oh, wait, what about this? And then those questions are met with nothing but blocks and then antagonistic attacks, you know, directed by the same people. Like, yeah, he's been saying this for a while, man. And if you really listen to season one, he was asking these questions in season one, and people would get upset. But because that first season was really leaning into, I think the first two seasons were really leaning into, yeah, I thought this was real. I thought this was real because I came into it with a belief system. So I was the perfect sucker for this. And in retrospect, yeah, I have every fucking right to be mad. Every right to be mad. Every right. And I have every right to not like Lue Elizondo. I have every right to not like Sean Cahill. I mean, listen to what Lue Elizondo said to this. Quote, "It is inconceivable that the Pentagon continues to go down this road of obfuscation and denial. So this dickhead is going to dig his heels in and doubled down on a lie that has been debunked now. I think this is the third or fourth time. Not only by his former employers, and fellow coworkers, but by investigative journalists, and now in an official capacity in a DoD report. That it's only part one. Our adversaries have already stated for the record they have their own UAP programs. Yeah, those UAP programs recover our crash toys. Doesn't mean it's alien. Is this not important to the Pentagon? This report is not only inaccurate, but it's also misleading in many of its assertions. Furthermore, this is yet another example of a long list of missteps by the Pentagon in recent history. It's a sad day for democracy when the American public is being fed misinformation under the guise of truthfulness and transparency. I am disgusted that you're a Cuban. I really am. I can't believe you're doubling down on this. A guy who's saying that this report is not only inaccurate, misleading in all of its assertions, but furthermore, just another example of a long list of missteps by the Pentagon in recent history. It's a sad day for democracy. The balls on you, man. The fucking balls on you. The American public is being fed misinformation under the guise of truthfulness and transparency. It's like he's telling us right there. The balls, man. I can't believe he's doubling down. Like I said, I hope there are consequences for you, Lue Elizondo, because this lie can only go so far, man. You know, and a book isn't going to save you. And I can tell you this, if this is a sad day for democracy, fucking testify. Testify, you pussy. That's the first time I've ever called somebody a fucking name on this show like this. Like this. Testify, you pussy. Come on. You're such a fucking tough guy. You're standing on the truth. Testify before Congress. Hearings are coming. Where are you? Or are you going to do the book first? You fucking coward. Aggregate that. Come on this show, you fucking coward. Yes, book first. I mean, oh, God, that is infuriating, man. That is infuriating. I would love for the federal government and you guys to go to court. I would love for you to sue the federal government. I would love to see that happen, Lue Elizondo, if you're so fucking right. So this is interesting. Mick West also says here, as well as saying there's no evidence of visiting aliens, hidden advanced technology or ET crash retrieval programs, AARO also mentioned some of the causes for UFO sightings. Solar flaring means the sun reflecting off satellites, mostly Starlink satellites. And he highlights it right here. It's picking up a lot of bats and birds. And then he highlights, we're learning a lot about solar flaring. We're really starting to understand what's in orbit around our planet and how we can eliminate those as anomalous objects. So that's like, again, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Let's see who else said stuff here. This is just great. And I got flagged yesterday for some music from Cosmic Judas. I don't, dude, some of the music that gets flagged on this is so weird, man, but hopefully this doesn't have any. Wait. Oh, there it is. Sorry. Yeah, this is prepare your eulogies. This is a response. By the way, Stephen Greenstreet is having a space tonight at 6:00 Pacific. I'm gonna definitely try and be there. I know the average Chris is trying to be there. I was trying to get Chris and a couple people on the show today, but everybody's busy, and yeah, I get it. It's a wild time. But yeah, we're going to be talking about this obviously for the next few shows. I'm sure, as people scour and read this over and over and over again, there's going to be other things that pop out that you didn't notice on first read. And we'll see what happens, but I'm looking forward to version 2 and seeing what's in version 2. Because I'm hoping that version 2 is more specific in who these people are. That's what I'd like to see more than anything. I really, really would. I wonder if News Nation is covering this debacle. Probably not. What's up, Bobby Broadway? Thank you for being here. There'd be no spiritual in your simulation, Jonathan. Fake Lou, we know who you are. A hot lady. Oh man, I love Fake Lou. Just for the record, I think Fake Lou is welcome here anytime. Well, it's gonna be, like I said, it's gonna be interesting the next couple of days here. Like what starts to come of this, like what's going to be the fallout of this information, of this report. We'll see. We shall see what the fallout's going to be. I could tell you, I have a feeling we're going to be hearing more from Lue Elizondo because, yeah, I know he's seething right now. He is pissed. He is pissed. And I'm happy that he's pissed. I'm glad that his feathers are ruffled. I'm glad that he's got to resort to Matt Ford. Look at this idiot. He put this little stupid piggy picture here in the corner and make sure everyone knows where they can get updates from their god, Lue Elizondo. You're a fucking coward too, Matt Ford. You're a piece of garbage. Following 0 people. What a jerk. What a jerk. That must be new, because that wasn't always the case. Or if it is, I never noticed it. That's so funny. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific, Gary Nolan reacts to the Pentagon AARO historical UAP report. I can't wait. Can't wait to see what bullshit comes out of Gary Nolan's mouth on your stupid ass show. Man, I cannot wait to hear how these idiots spin this shit. It's gonna be so much fun. And we're gonna dissect all of the stupidity as it comes in. Amazing. Look at this. Me walking into the week and knowing I was right about Grush and the whistleblowers. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Rest in peace, ufology. It's been real. Fuck you. Like, fuck you, ufology, and all aspects of it. They've burnt it. Congratulations, Lue Elizondo. Mission fucking accomplished, man. You burnt this shit to the ground. Congratulations. And the beautiful thing is you're getting a fucking standing ovation from all of your fans. They're so dumb. Oh, they're so dumb. So stupid. Anyway, if you're watching this show, you're probably not stupid and you've caught on to the fact that, oh yeah, all of these guys are full of shit. All of these guys are fucking lying. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for noticing. It feels good to no longer be alone in this conversation anyway. Damn. What a good day. What a good day. It really, really was. You guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so damn much for sticking with me. You know? It means a lot, especially on days like today. It means a lot. The people who have been there supporting the show and, you know, sending me messages and saying, hey, thanks for doing what you're doing. You're welcome. Days like this make me feel validated. It made me feel good. Like I made the right decision. And as every day passes and more stuff like this comes out, that just gets validated more and more and more and more. And the people that I'm warning you about today, it's the same shit. I'm telling you, if I'm making a prediction, it's not because I don't know the information. I've made a lot of predictions on this show that have come to be true. Almost all of them. Almost all of them. Unreal. Anyway, you guys, thank you so damn much again for being here. Don't forget to smack that like, share, and subscribe button. Don't forget to ring the bell, the notification button. That way you are notified every time we go live or stuff like this happens. I don't want to call it news, but it's a DoD report, so technically speaking, it is news. If you want to support the show with the almighty dollar, we have a Patreon link in the description below. And I want to thank, again, the 2 donations we got today. The first one here from I'm Not There, It's Not Happening. Thank you so much for these $10 donation. And to Artisan Tony for the $30 dono. Thank you so damn much. I truly, truly appreciate it. Your meme should come up here in a second. There it is. Thank you so damn much. Complizzier. This was one from the other day. Just want to say what's up and thank you again. And yeah. So thank you for embarking on this journey of discovery together. Stay curious, stay skeptical. And thank you for helping us here at Lue Reviews raise the bar. Until next time, you guys have a wonderful weekend. This was a busy week. 3 shows this week. 4 shows technically if you count our game stream, which we had yesterday after the show. So that was a lot of fun. We played some Call of Duty. Had an hour to kill, so fuck it. We streamed it. And I actually had a pretty good last game, so go check it out if you want to watch me game. Anyway, guys, have a killer weekend. I'll see you next time. Love you all. Be good. Maybe I'll see you in that Green Street chat. Later, y'all. Felipe Suil, thank you for subscribing, my friend. Look at that, right at the last second. That's for you. Love you all.